So, in this lecture, let's take a look at some important forms of CMC throughout the history. Of course, this short lecture won't be able to cover every type of CMC. So instead, we will focus especially on those types that have been significant in advancing CMC research. We will start from CMC used primarily for personal and social purposes. Here, the interface shown here is called Internet Relay Chat, or IRC for short. It's an early application that facilitates transfer of messages in the form of text. IRC clients are computer programs that a user can install on their system. These clients are able to communicate with chat servers to transfer messages to other clients. It is mainly designed for group communication in discussion forums called channels, but also allows one-to-one communication via private message as well as chat and data transfer, including file sharing. IRC used to be very popular. However, over the past decade, IRC usage has been declining. Since 2003, it has lost 60% of its users, down from 1 million to about 400,000 in 2014, and half of its channels. A related but different form of textual CMC is called Multi-User Dungeon, or MUD for short. It's a multiplayer real-time virtual world, usually text-based. MUDs combine elements of role-playing games, interactive fiction, and online chat. Players can read or view descriptions of rooms, objects, other players, non-player characters, and actions performed in the virtual world. Players typically interact with each other and the world by typing commands that somewhat resembles a natural language, as shown here. Traditional MUDs are role-playing video games set in a fantasy world populated by fictional races and monsters. Players can choose classes in order to gain specific skills or powers. The objective of this sort of game is to slay monsters, explore a fantasy world, complete quests, go on adventures, create a story by role-playing, and advance the character. Now, here is arguably the most widely used CMC tool of all time, email. It is also one of the earliest forms of CMC, from as early as 1965. It still enjoys immense popularity. According to the Email Statistics Report, over 100 billion emails are sent and received per day. While email is mostly text-based, people have developed pictorial representation of facial expressions. Emoticons, smileys, or emojis have become widely popular in emails, online forums, and instant messaging as shown here. It could be considered as a way to compensate for the lack of nonverbal cues in text-based CMC. More recently, video conferencing functionalities have become widely available in instant messaging applications. We're familiar with tools such as Skype, FaceTime, and Google Hangout. With these tools, we're no longer constrained in the ability to transmit nonverbal information. Video conferencing is supplementing, and in some cases, replacing face-to-face communication. Another very important type of CMC comes in the form of social network sites. In 2007, Boyd and Ellison published the first piece that offers a theoretical definition and a brief history of major social network sites. They define social network sites as web-based services that allow individuals to first construct a public or semi-public profile within a bounded system. Second, articulate a list of other users with whom they share a connection. And third, view and traverse their list of connections and those made by others within the system. In this paper, they also provided a brief timeline of the development of SNS. Note that it does not include anything after 2007. Actually, quite a few on this list have since disappeared or have gone through a total transformation. For example, the original MySpace was founded in 2003 and was later acquired by the News Corporation in 2005. From 2005 until early 2008, MySpace was the most visited social networking site in the world. But soon enough, in 2008, MySpace was overtaken by Facebook in the number of unique worldwide visitors. Since then, the number of MySpace users has declined steadily in spite of several redesigns. The most recent redesign of the site happened in last year, 2013, which positioned it as a music and lifestyle networking site. So social network sites typically offer much more functionalities than standalone IM software or email. Most of them integrate IM or email functions. For example, on Facebook, there is the Facebook Messenger. At the same time, you could share news stories, pictures, videos with a defined network of friends. You could also comment, like, play games, and organize collective activities. Another important trend of CMC is communication through mobile devices, such as cell phones or smartphones. How many of you could live without your cell phone for one day? Probably not a lot, right? Because mobile devices are very much integrated into our work and social lives. According to the Pew Research Center, 90% of American adults have a cell phone. 58% own a smartphone. And 42% own a tablet computer. In fact, communication through these mobile devices have become so ubiquitous, it inspires many internet memes, such as this one, Text from Hillary. It all started with this now famous photo of former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton interacting on her smartphone. CMC through mobile devices will be even more ubiquitous with wearable devices, including the Google Glass, smart wristbands, and smart watches, such as the much anticipated Apple Watch. It is projected that in the next few years, we're likely to see explosive growth of the market of wearable technology.